Addiction thrives when you stop asking yourself the hard questions. Everybody, listen. If you are facing any addiction of any kind, I have to tell you this. Avoidance creates permission for habits to stay, for bad habits. The quicker we change our behavior towards these things, these habits, the faster we start to confront them, the faster we start to achieve overcoming them. Now, I want to talk a little bit about addiction and why we tend to avoid the main question, why we tend to cast them off and push them out of our minds. And it really comes from one main idea, and that is shame. And also, I guess you could attribute guilt to that as well. But they're two very different things, and you have to understand what they are. Guilt is just, it's almost temporary. You feel guilty for something, you acknowledge that you did something wrong. But shame is a little bit more secretive, and it's a lot more evil, and it's a lot more damning. And shame is more the feeling of I've done something wrong and I cannot tell anybody about it. Or rather, it's usually attributed with behaviors that repeat. So whatever your problem is, I have no idea. And if you really feel like you need more than just this video by the time this is done, you can feel free to email me. My email is in the bio. I've been through a couple of addictions myself, and it was really hard to overcome them. But through the trial and error, through the faith, through the diligence that it took, I found some really powerful tricks and habits that will help you to overcome any addiction in any form. But first, you have to reflect. And not just reflect on the addiction alone. You have to really get to the core of your own being. Self-reflect. When you self-reflect, it exposes patterns before they grow. And one way that I would encourage you guys to self-reflect is by buying a journal. This is my 2026 Everything Journal. I start a journal every single year, and I literally just brain dump everything that I do or everything that I think about. And I write all these studies that I have, or just goals, everything. Everything goes into this book to become something so much more. And I would encourage you guys to self-reflect in these books. Write down the thoughts that are in your mind, the feelings. Doesn't matter what they are. If it's self-hate, or if it's self-love, or if it's unsurety, or if it's a question. Really dig deep. Write down what it is that you are feeling. And then follow up with the question of why. Sometimes I think we forget to ask ourselves why, assuming that we already have the answer at the forefront of our mind. But no, there's a lot deeper answers, and it requires that you actually dig. This is a quote I wrote down just last night, and it was, "To be a slave is to live without meaning." And if we can't find the meaning within ourselves, if we can't find the answer, then we have no meaning. So reflect. Get to know yourself, because we don't really know ourselves. But then in response of asking why, talk to God. Tell him how you feel. I remember one of the most powerful experiences in just the depth of my addiction was when I simply asked God for help. And no, maybe these experiences aren't things that I would typically share, but I can say that I did get an answer. And it wasn't in the way I expected, and I didn't recognize that the answer came until 2 weeks later while reflecting in my journal. But had I not opened up the journal, had I not thought back on it, on that exact prayer, that exact moment of undeniable weakness, I would have never found the answer. And when we don't confront these things, when we don't self-reflect, we don't get to the core, do we? When you are aware, be aware, people. When you are aware, when you are awake, it weakens addiction. It loosens the bands that it binds you upon. Awareness weakens addiction faster than willpower. You don't need willpower. Sometimes you don't have the power. Sometimes you feel so weak, you feel like you can't lift this by yourself. And I'm here to tell you guys, you don't have to. Be aware of it. And then ask God for help. And watch as he picks up the yoke with you. And he carries you with him. And I'm not saying that these things all get easier. But in retrospect, when you think back upon these moments of your life when they were so deep and sincere, you recognize the hand of the Lord in everything that you do, and you cannot deny the miracles that come in your life. Now, take this from someone who's been through addictions. I'm actually going to be coming out with a course here soon, and I'm really working on it. I want to make sure that it is something that is valuable to you guys, that will actually solve problems and give you guys some purpose and meaning in your life. Habits to replace these negative ones that are tearing you apart. Either way, email me. That's always free, and you can always watch these videos. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of my future videos. I'll be posting 3 videos like this every single week, and I'm going to have an addiction playlist. So if it's already out, go ahead and click playlist section, and you can find it and watch all of them. I have a lot to share and a lot to get through to you. So please don't give up. Check it out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.